You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. Folks, over the weekend, all the Democratic candidates were in South Carolina, 21 of them, basically bowing down to the only African-American on the Democratic side in the South Carolina delegation, Congressman Jim Clyburn, the highest-ranking African-American in the House Democratic caucus. He held his world-famous fish fry in his hometown of Columbia, South Carolina on Friday. 19 of the 21 candidates attended and spoke on stage. This morning on the Tom Joyner Morning Show, I talked with Congressman Clyburn about the event. So, Congressman, they were all there. Anybody stand out? Anybody who really stood out this weekend?
I think Kamala Harris is, from what I heard, from reactors, people thought she did very, very well. I don't think anybody did themselves any real harm. Easily impressed a lot of people. So I think that it was a very interesting weekend. People were very collegial to each other.
Very.
I was very impressed. Very impressed.
Well, Congressman, you also did an interview last week where you said you were surprised that Senator Kamala Harris and Senator Cory Booker are not doing better in South Carolina. Of course, they're lagging behind Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders. Do you think they're the only two African Americans in the race, including the brother out of Florida? But do you believe that it's because they are relatively new compared to those two in terms of name ID? Do you believe that they'll actually increase their black support and overall support in your home state?
Well, I think there's a little bit of it. Also, I've always told people African American voters are pretty much faith voters. So much of what we do, our civil rights activities, came out of the church. Our political activities came out of the church. In the early Congress people, black Congress people, before I got elected back in the post-Reconstruction era, a lot of them were church leaders. One of us even was AME Bishop, Richard Kane. So when you look at this, they tend to go with faith issues. I want to see your deeds. I need not hear your words. And so I think that the deeds versus words, I think that means a whole lot to African-American voters. I happen to have been born and raised in the parsonage, so I know a little bit about that thought process. And so I think that that's what they're up against.
Also, Congressman, you were... All right, so now, Senator Kamala Harris, she made quite an entrance to that fish fry. She, I guess she was trying to channel Beyonce at Homecoming, huh? Mildred, I'm disappointed not to see Senator Kamala Harris do an AKA stroll.
I can't believe it. And it was challenging trying to understand what Clyburn was saying. So what's your question to me?
Well, first, again, I'm just joking there, of course, with Senator Kamala Harris and being an AKA. But I do believe that what Clyburn is saying is absolutely correct. Look, you're not going to get, and I'm going to go back. I said this by the third year of Obama. I said, if you're the next black person running for president, trust me, you're not going to get the same runway as Obama did. And I think that's what we're seeing with Senator Kamala Harris, and we're seeing that with Senator Cory Booker. I think black voters, Mildred, are extremely smart, and they're saying we want to see Trump gone, and we're going to support earlier right now the person who we think has the best shot to move Trump out.
I think you're absolutely right, but I think the Democratic Party has a greater issue here, and that is when you have 20 to 25 people talking about they're going to seek the the office of the highest office of the land, it tells you something about the party. If the party was cohesive and strong as it should be if it wants to defeat its opponent, you wouldn't have 25 people jumping in and weighing in. Some of this is sheer foolishness. I think we all know that, but I also think it's very damaging. What happens down the road, the closer we get to getting serious about this election? We should be getting serious about it now, but the Democrats don't seem to be doing that.
Mo Kelly, 2004, there were two African Americans who ran for president. One, former Senator Kara Mosley Braun. The other was Reverend Al Sharpton. I kept telling everybody then, trust me, Mosley Braun and Sharpton are going to have no role whatsoever in South Carolina. Folks were betting me saying, oh no, Sharpton is going to win South Carolina. I said, you have lost your mind. I think what we're seeing here, we're seeing black voters in South Carolina say, this man is evil. We want him out. We like y'all, but we think the two of you are not as strong compared to the resume of Vice President Joe Biden as well as Senator Bernie Sanders. And I think that's why you're seeing these early poll numbers where you don't see, we're in South Carolina where nearly half of all voters are African American. They're not flocking to the two black major candidates. You, of course, have Wayne Messam, who's the mayor out of Florida, who has no impact on this race whatsoever. Sorry. Go ahead. And look, he's my frat brother, but sorry, he ain't got no impact on it. Go right ahead, Mo.
Well, there are a couple things. There's some competing interests here. I would say black folks generally, we have this ideological purity test. We want to make sure that they're black enough or blacker than thou. That's one thing. And we're also trying to compete with the idea. Let's not forget, it took black folks to warm up to Barack Obama. He gave the speech at the Democratic National Convention in 2004. People didn't even know about him really until 2008. And the prevailing question was, is he black enough? That, I think, is is part of this. And also, not everyone's running for president. Some of these folks are running so they can get a syndicated radio show like Herman Cain did or Mike Huckabee did. They're running hopefully to be considered for the VP portion of the ticket, or they're running for a cabinet position. They're running possibly for 4 years and 8 years from now. And I believe half this field will be whittled away, black folks and white folks, before we even get to Iowa. So to push back against Mildred just a little bit, I don't think it hurts the party. The natural course of things, it will work itself out. But as far as like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, they have an uphill battle for your point, what you said. They're not going to be as quickly. We're not going to be as quick to cling to them because they're black. And we do want Trump out of office. But also we still have this issue of having this purity test to make sure that they are black first and will take care of us first before they take care of everyone else. And that's a push-pull, and it's competing against each other, but it will work itself out in the way that it did with Obama.
Karen, for all the folks who say black folks vote black, no.
Well, so here's the thing. Comparing Kamala Harris and Cory Booker to Barack Obama is like comparing apples to pencils.
Why?
Barack Obama was special. Barack Obama was special.
How?
And yeah, because he was a special candidate.
How?
How? Because he was special. There's a magical thing about Barack Obama that neither one of those candidates have. And it's not something that's tangible. And if we're being honest, to Mo's point, it wasn't until Barack Obama won Iowa that black people jumped on the bandwagon, including some people that we know, famous civil rights leaders, were on Hillary's ticket until Barack Obama won white people in Iowa. So, yeah, they're a little bit different, and that purity test should be for everybody, not just black candidates. What are you going to do for black America?
Right.
What are you going to do for us? Should be the question for all of these candidates,
but
black or white.
But that's why I think that it is proving the point that black people are very smart in making determination as to who they're going to support. So for all the people who say, they voted because they were black, it's like, no. Black folks make calculated decisions just like they did in 1988, 84, and 88 when Reverend Jackson ran. In 84, there were a lot of people who said, I'm sorry, Reverend, you can't win. We're supporting Mondale. In 1988, you can't win. We're supporting Dukakis. That existed, and I'm using 2004 as an example as well. And so I think it's going to be, look, if the reality is if you're Senator Kamala Harris and you're Senator Cory Booker, you desperately need a win in South Carolina and not second place. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a bunch of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. And, of course, Again, a lot of y'all sent me emails saying, how can I get involved? Well, guess what? Now they have a new investment opportunity that is as good, if not even better than the last one. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. But the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the United States and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all of the plants, and this makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. You can invest in the crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Now, all you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get in the game. You should do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.